Hey guys, it's Vince and Drew with Power 5 Fanatics, and we're going to do one of our Eliminator videos this week. We didn't do it last week because I don't think there's anybody to eliminate,
No.
but we're getting here to the final stretch of the season, and there were a couple teams that we're going to be taking off, and we're also going to talk about a couple of the big games this weekend, rivalry weekend heading into week 14. Starting with teams eliminated, Penn State. They've really had a great year.
Yeah.
Their offense failed them finally. There's been points in the season where they just weren't getting the production they needed on offense. Their defense has been really good all year. And, of course, when you're playing Ohio State, you got to score some points if you're going to win because you're not going to hold them down for long.
No.
And but respectable game. They lost 28-17. I thought they played real good. In fact, at one point in the maybe third quarter, they were either they were maybe 3
they were
points
down
behind.
quite a bit. Well,
But
they
they
came
pulled,
back though.
Yeah, they came back, but just not enough and too much Ohio State. So Penn State, you've had a great year, and everything's still in front of them as far as having an excellent bowl and overall great
And I
year.
think next year they could actually really take a big step potentially. They get a lot of guys back. They just had a really young team this year. They get Micah Parsons back, who's like their stud defensive lineman, like a miniature Chase Young, if you should say. He's just really that good. And they get some other guys back. So it's not over for Penn State this year. They may not have gotten the goal that they wanted, but going into the season, I think they overachieved considering what they.
I would say they did
had
too.
coming in.
Overall, I'd say
Chase McSorley leaving, and
I would say overall, it was a good year for Coach Franklin.
Yeah.
The other eliminated team with the Ducks, and they've had just a weird season. They start off. I guess it was in August. It was week one. It was in August. I think it was. Anyways,
30th.
They lose to Auburn, and then they go on a run. I believe they won 9 games in a row, and there was a spot in there where they won 5, and they only gave up 5 in a row, and they gave up like 25 points during those 5 games. So their defense really kind of became their calling card this year. And then as they started playing maybe some better teams in the Pac-12, their offense had to pick it up. Herbert still, he had a great year.
Oh, yeah.
He's not going to win the Heisman, but he did have a great year. And then, then it all caved in on them at Arizona State. They lost 31-28.
Yeah. They, like Vince said, they did have a great year. In that Arizona State game, they were down quite a bit, and they were able to kind of bring it back and make it respectable there at the end. And then Arizona State, their defense kind of gave up on, or, let them get like an 80 yard.
Jaden Daniels hits his bomb with like 4 minutes left, and that pretty much iced the game for Arizona State.
Yeah.
But, you got to beat those kind of teams on the road because Arizona State should have been a win for them. I don't know if they were favoring that game. It was 16 or 17 points probably, but they didn't get it done. And to get to where you want to be, you can't have any letdowns. Normally you can't, but they've lost 2 games, so they're out of it. Overall, still great season. They're still going to be in the Pac. They can still win the Pac-12. So if they end up beating Utah, so it's still they got a lot of goals in front of them. They're just going to be out of the national title picture.
Yeah.
Speaking of some big games, of course, the 2 this weekend, I would say the biggest games are also 2 of the biggest rivalries in college football. Penn State, Michigan, which in my opinion...
Ohio State, Michigan.
I'm sorry, Ohio State, Michigan, which in my view that's the biggest rivalry in college football to me, okay? And it usually does have a significant impact on the national championship, which obviously it's going to this year also. And then Alabama Auburn again usually has some type of impact on the national title, and it does this year too. And both great games. Michigan playing at home. I believe the line was 9.
Was it 9?
Yeah. Ohio State being favored. So, Ohio State had their first challenge this last week, and I would say it was good they had that challenge because they kind of sometimes you need to get punched around a little bit too to understand how to take a few punches because they're going to get some from Michigan. Michigan's playing great.
And the thing of interest in this game to me, obviously there's a lot of implications in this game, especially around the playoffs. The other thing though is Ohio State really hasn't been tested while they're wearing away jerseys this season. They've mostly played at home or they've played teams that they should beat, by a landslide.
Right.
This is the first game where they have to actually go on the road and, talk about a hostile environment. The Big House is definitely one of the better home field advantages, especially to Ohio State. They hate Ohio State there. So
and for Harbaugh, this is such a huge
and it's a huge game for Harbaugh.
Game.
The whole, none of those players have ever beat Ohio State.
If they win, it makes the season's golden for Michigan at this point. Even though, they stumbled early in the year. In my opinion, second half of the year, they're one of the best teams in college football as it stands right now, today. And they just had that first 5 or 6 games, they just didn't look that good, especially offensively.
Trying to get their offense rolling, and they just weren't able to until.
Yeah, this is where they're at right now is where the Michigan fans were hoping they would have been in September, but they weren't, and that's just the way it goes. But they've improved and evolved, and they are at the point where, this could be upset alert. I'm not saying that Ohio State's going to lose this game, but it's probably going to be close. Anyway, what a great game. Then Auburn, Alabama, playing in Auburn.
Is it at Auburn? I can't remember, guys, but I think it's at Auburn this game because I think they played in Tuscaloosa last year.
Anyways,
the line is actually really close here. I think it's
Alabama's favored by 3.5,
which I'm surprised by. I know that they have a backup quarterback in Mac Jones, and Auburn. Obviously Gus Malzahn's kind of maybe have a foot out the door. Who knows? This could be his way to get back, into good standing with a lot of the fans around there. But yeah, this is going to be a good game too. If it's on the road for Alabama, watch out for a potential upset there as well.
Yeah, and Alabama really they need some style points at this point in the season. We have them number 4, which the college football playoff is going to come out tonight. My guess they're probably going to be 5 to where they were last week, but they need some help. They don't have the 13th game. This is it for them. So, in my opinion, they need to beat Auburn by 2 to 3 touchdowns, and then they still need a little bit of help. Okay. In other words, they need Utah to lose to Oregon in the Pac-12 championship. They need something like Ohio State somehow losing, or just somebody in front of them. But
or Georgia getting really beat down by LSU, where to the point where they don't look deserving to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, and it's at Auburn, but the game is.
Okay.
But anyways, I think they really do need to look good doing it, and but Auburn this year, they're kind of like Georgia, except at a lower level, I would say, just from the standpoint. Their defense has really been good all year, and
really
they've just had some problems offensively. Nix has been off and on. Of course, he's a freshman quarterback, so you can't expect a whole lot. But that's kind of been their Achilles heel. They just hadn't been able to score points when they need to. Alabama has, obviously. Of course, they don't have Tua. They looked great last week against inferior competition. We'll see what happens this week. But I think Alabama needs to win pretty good here to have a shot.
I agree. Alabama, of course, they lost LSU, but they really didn't look that good in that game. They kind of started coming back in the fourth quarter, but I think in that game, LSU proved pretty much everyone wrong, that was thinking that, they have to go to Tuscaloosa to play Alabama. Well, I thought they really out-physicaled Alabama that game. And then now with Tua being hurt, that's a data point we all have to look at. And I know you can't really quantify that on how much is that going to, affect the way that the team plays.
Well, in my opinion, he's worth 6 to 7 points in a college football
game. But he's one of the elite quarterbacks.
And of course,
premier,
Alabama was helped so much, along with Oklahoma and Baylor, and some by Oregon losing. But I think they still need a little bit of help, probably. And I shouldn't try to overemphasize that they have to beat Auburn by a lot. I mean, if they win the game, they still, that's all that really matters because they're still going to be close enough to get in there if somebody does some stumbling, behind them or in front of them.
This is probably the most impactful college football playoff ranking tonight that has been. Last week was the week before, and then, tonight will really be a big one. So it'll depend a lot on where Alabama's ranked, whenever those rankings come out tonight.
I think they'll be 5, but we'll see where they put them at.
Yeah.
Well, guys, great spending time with you. Like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. We're going to have some other videos this week, including our picks against the spread. And so we look forward to sharing those with you. Talk to you later.
Thanks, guys.